Have you been thinking about selling your house, but you also need to buy a new one? It can be a super daunting and stressful situation having to switch homes, especially doing it all in one big swing. Because you have to deal with timelines, you have to deal with understanding how you're going to actually move out of one house and into the other, and just wondering how it all lines up exactly. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over the options that you kind of have when you're looking at selling and buying at the same time, or other options about going about it so that you have it the best way that fits your personal, situation and what makes the most sense for you if you have a family and all that good stuff. So let's dive into that. Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Shane Moynihan. I'm a local real estate agent and investor based out of Keene, New Hampshire. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, just feel free to reach out to me. My contact info is down below in the description, or leave a comment. I also have in the description below a link that you can just go on, schedule a 30-minute call with me, and we can jump on and talk about kind of how I can help you and what your goals are in real estate and point you in the right direction. So without further ado, let's get into selling and buying and how to go about it. So we're going to start with the basics, and the first step that you really want to start with when you're even starting to look at this option is assessing your financial position currently. You have to understand where you are and what makes the most sense. You have to think about, hey, am I able to buy a house while keeping this house? Do I have to sell this house to be able to buy the next house? And you have to understand from your financial position how that works. You'll also want to check the equity you have in your house and contact a real estate agent so they can kind of give you a better idea of the actual value of your house, because of course a lot of things online aren't always the actual worth of your house. So just because a Zestimate says something or some other site says your house is worth X, well, you always want to talk to an actual real estate professional that's in your local market that can really provide you with some actual numbers and reasons why they're providing those numbers for you. Then with that equity, you'll at least know what you can do for options when you sell the house, how much money you'll actually be walking away with, or on other options we'll touch on a little bit, it might matter too. Then the last thing you want to do on the financial side is find a good lender that you can talk to and discuss your situation with, understand what you're going through and see how they can help and point you in the right direction, especially if you do need to sell to buy, or if you can carry two mortgages. This is where the lender's really going to be able to help you with the financial side of the thing. And if you find yourself a great real estate agent, they should have plenty of lender contacts that they can give you and help you through this. So now step 2 is where we're going to actually dive into the options you have for doing this process of selling a house while buying a house. So the first one we're going to talk about is pretty simple and one of the best ways to go about it, but it doesn't work for everyone. And that is selling your house first and then dealing with buying after the fact of you selling your house. So you completely get rid of your house, you sell it, now you actually know how much you got for the house, you don't have the mortgage anymore, so now you can apply for a new one, see what you can get, and all that good stuff. Now this one, of course, has its pros and cons. The pros being, well, you're not going to have any risk of having to carry two mortgages because you're getting rid of the first one right away and then dealing with the second one after. So you don't have to worry about that at all. And then again, you get to clear that mortgage so that you don't have that debt to deal with when you're going to look for a new house. Now the cons, of course, is, well, if you're selling your house before buying a house, well, then you don't have a house anymore. So you got to find temporary housing. Now, there are some options with this, especially since you're the seller and the market's still pretty hot. You could have an option where you do a lease back with the new buyer, where you lease it back from them for a set amount for a certain amount of months. Now, of course, you also have options where you could find maybe short-term rentals, or if you have family that you could stay with in the meantime, maybe you need to get a pod or something or a storage unit to actually store your belongings in, but you could stay with family until you do find that house. And of course, this will make the house search a little less, intensive, because you're not like, well, we need it by this date, because you already dealt with the sale. So now you're really waiting for the actual house that fits you well. Now, the next option, this is for people who are really in a good financial position, and that's buying first, then dealing with the sale after you buy. Now, this one is probably one of the easiest ways of going about it for people who are in the financial position that can go about it. Because when you're looking to buy the house, well, now you have no timeline that you have to hit by, that you must be in a house by, because guess what? You haven't sold your house yet because you're dealing with buying that one first. Also makes it much easier for moving because, well, guess what? Now you get to move at your own pace whenever you want because you own 2 houses. But of course, there are some downsides, pros and cons with this option too. Now, of course, the pro is, like I just said, you're not in a rush to find a house. You can really wait for the one that makes sense for you. The cons, well, guess what? You're going to be carrying 2 mortgages, which could add up. And you're also going to need to be in a super strong financial position to not only afford 2 mortgages at the same time, not only come up with the down payment for the new house, but also be able to qualify for having 2 mortgages. Now, of course, with this, you also want to understand, if you're going to go down this option, you want to speak with your real estate agent. Hey, even though I'm buying right now, how long do you think it'll take to sell my house? Because, well, are you going to be carrying 2 mortgages for 2 months? Are you going to be carrying 2 mortgages for 8 months? Or are you going to carry it for more? So you want to know actually what timeline you're working with so you can make sure that that financial decision makes sense in your life. Now, the last one we're going to talk about is one of the ones that happen probably one of the most often for this type of situation, because a lot of people can't carry 2 mortgages. A lot of people can't get finance for 2 homes. And a lot of people don't want to deal with selling their house and then finding temporary housing for a month or 2 and then dealing with moving all again. So the biggest one we have here is same day closing. Now, the best way of going about this, I always suggest, is still you as a person who owns a house, you list your current house on the market and you get it under contract. Because once you're under contract, it's way more of a sure thing. So you look stronger when you're going to search for that new house and you're putting in offers with it contingent upon your home sale. But since your home sale already has someone under contract with it, it looks way better than if you write it up, hey, I want your house, but it's still contingent on me cleaning up my house, doing listing photos, actually getting it on the market, and then finding someone to buy it. When you already have all those steps done, you already have someone to buy it. Now you're just finding the new house so that they can actually close on it, move in, you close on the new one, move in. So of course, this is the best way of going about it because you don't have to worry about dealing with 2 mortgages because you're going to be closing on one in the morning, paying off that mortgage, closing on a new one in the afternoon, and opening up a new mortgage. Now this one, again, when you're having the same day closing simultaneously, you do want good real estate agents in your corner because this can be a lot of communication. I'm going through it a decent amount right now, and it's just a lot to line up. And it does work, but you have to have parties that are actually like pretty negotiable and understandable, willing and flexible on when they're actually going to close. Like I have one currently that we have an contract date where their house is going to close on, but they have a possibility of moving up. So the house that they're buying, we're telling the seller, hey, we're going to close on this day, but we could close sooner. Is that okay? And they said, yes, that's absolutely fine. We're good as quickly as possible because most sellers want the house gone. So you just really want a good agent in your corner that can work with other agents to line this up and make it the smoothest possible way for you as a seller. The one con I will say with this is sometimes even simultaneous closes, they are a little bit difficult with the moving because, well, you're closing on one in the morning and closing on another one in the afternoon. So you better have most of your stuff packed up on that new one before you even deal with closing that day because you're going to have to drive the U-Haul from one to the other. So it's a lot of moving pieces in that, but that's a position you're in and that's a struggle you're going to have to deal with, sadly enough. Now, a couple things I want to touch on with this video is, again, having a solid real estate agent in your corner for this type of situation is going to be massive. I always suggest, especially in this type of situation, a lot of people don't understand this. Real estate agents are licensed to sell and to help people buy houses. We do both. So if you're looking for this type of deal, get yourself one agent that'll help you list and buy, because then you're already cutting the communication in half if you had an agent helping sell and an agent helping buy. It's just a lot of misconfusion around that, and people don't understand that we can help with both sides of it, and it makes it way easier for you also as a seller slash buyer, that you're only communicating with one agent and that's your main focal point, and then the agent's communicating to everyone else for you. It's a huge thing. That's why you're paying them a commission, and that's why you're hiring a real estate agent, is to make this process smooth for you. Now, another thing I want to mention is when you're going about this, you really do want to understand what's happening in the market, because like right now, the real estate market here in New Hampshire is still really hot. Like, we're still seeing houses go under contract within the first weekend if it's priced correctly. There's other houses that are sitting 30, 45, 60 days because they're overpriced or they're just not moving like they should. So you want to make sure you know what's going to happen. Am I going to list my house and am I going to have it sit on the market for 30 days without any offers? I hope not. So you really want to get an agent that understands where you are and might suggest, hey, since you're in this position, we might want to list a little bit low so we know we're going to look hot on the market. Make sure you get offers, instead of saying, oh, well, I really want a high number, and then having it sit, and then you're not able to sell and buy because your house isn't selling. So understanding the market is huge, and just understanding how timetables will line up with things. So that's going to be a big part on this. Another reason real estate agents come in super clutch for you, because they understand all this stuff. This is the things we're doing all day long, trying to figure this out, moving contracts through the steps and getting them to the closing table. Hopefully without you knowing a lot of the problems, because we want to make sure it's a seamless thing for you. We're going to take care of all the hits and bruises along the way and greet you with all the news as best as we can with a kind face. So I hope this video helped you understand a little bit more of how to actually go about the selling and buying of a house, because it is a pretty big undertaking. Not only is just buying or selling a house a big undertaking, but doing them both at the same time can be pretty overwhelming, especially if you're dealing with multiple agents on different sides of the sale and the buy. Get yourself someone that you trust, someone that's going to be in your corner and really help you get to the table as smooth as possible, make everything make sense, and get you what you're actually looking for, whether it is you want to sell first, deal with buying later, buy first, deal with selling later, or if you need to do both same day, you really want a good agent. So I hope this video added some value. If it did, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions about real estate, especially about this, put them down in the comments below. Or if you want to talk to me personally, just go in the description to a link for my Calendly link, and you can just schedule a 30-minute call with me. We can talk about your real estate goals, see how I can help you get those achieved, and we'll take it from there. So I hope this did add value, and I'll catch you guys next week with another video.